of an enormous breakthrough in gravity knowledge and control. According to Vincent R. White, here a case is made that the public NASA is in a large part beyond its public missions, a magician's prop, a watch the birdie distraction, while all the time a new, radical paradigm of physics has been developed and kept in the black, but which will one day lead to the use of current physics text for landfill. Vincent R. White. To paraphrase Winston Churchill, people stumble over great truths every day, but they pick themselves up, and hurry on as if nothing had ever happened. This, it will be argued, is precisely what has happened to the case for operational field propulsion, another name for gravity control. What has been stumbled over is an immense and still expanding rich variety of sources, of one of the biggest secrets around. Worse still, after stumbling over the evidence for a great breakthrough, most deny anything important took place, especially if it isn't officially acknowledged reality. The mental roadblocks are many. Some say, we would know about this in a week, or it would leak all over. That this technology would be used, and be employed against terrorists, and the airline industry would be flying these Jetson like sleek G-ships instead of kerosene burners, that every day darken the brown fog now growing around the planet's skies. These heterodox constellations of a variety of sources that we will present, do paint a very different picture that indicates that such simplistic thinking does not describe our reality. While surveying a spectrum of sources, we will ask what Donnie Rumsfeld, the new Secretary of Defense, was trying to say a day before 9/11 when he, in rather jocular fashion, mentioned almost in passing that the DoD seemed to have misplaced several $1 trillion. What was he trying to say? How much would a black budget R&D gravity program cost? How much if it required a new paradigm of physics? How much if the price tag included a secret space fleet, and a remote hidden spaceport, and an immense bodyguard of lies to keep this from the world and from the scrutiny of the taxpayers who paid for this? Who says it hasn't leaked all over? And what meaning is there to such leaks when minds are so made up, that leaks are trashed faster than the leaks take place? And how do you know what vehicles special operations use in Afghanistan and elsewhere? Can you say we are not using such vehicles in carefully camouflaged manner? For this truth search does take in an atmosphere that is thick with the half-truths and lies of professional disinformation peddlers. These many sources of origin, by the very many forms in which they appear, are mutually verifying. When a deep insider reveals a gravity program, an independent engineer reports working on the same craft, and another pilot reports seeing a craft that resembles, down to small details, while flying near a premier aerospace center, then this spreadsheet of truth that one builds to study this, becomes formidable indeed. This methodology, however, requires a fine eclecticism, a wearing of many hats, for these nuggets of newness will not be found by digging deeper in the same post hole endlessly. We must prowl in new directions. We have an embarrassment of evidence, as in the case for the UFO itself. It is from insiders who have told of working on actual field propulsion engines, to a reporter with a major daily, who in a deep background interview, speaks of vast sums of money spent to achieve breakthroughs in gravity propulsion, with nary a word on the pages of the paper that this individual works as a senior editor. It ranges from a radio station editor in Wytheville, Virginia, who witnessed, with others in the area, a B-2 that was nearly hovering, which is impossible, unless it has another propulsion mode, to 2 UK hackers, one of which discovered anti-gravity engine document files at UPUF, and the other who it seems stumbled on what seems to be a database on a secret space fleet. It is so large a pile of evidence that indeed, those who ignore this were required literally to walk around the evidence piled so high. For there is an overwhelming case, that a scientific holy grail, an absurdity to skeptics, a realizable dream to the optimists, was a black world milestone that was achieved decades ago. This is nearly an open secret for those who are willing to walk through the data, in all its manifold, intersecting, interlocking and mutually reinforcing facts. Taking so-called skeptics to the woodshed. Examples abound. Ewing, Kentucky Triangle UFO sighting. A physicist hunting near Ft. Hood, at dusk, was astonished and very impressed by the sight of a large black triangle passing quietly over his head, at low altitude. In awestruck curiosity, aiming his telescopic lens on his rifle at the belly of the silent beast as it passed over his head, he stared and suddenly startled, as he noticed small, stenciled English writing on the bottom of the vehicle. In small letters was spelled out "Rescue" and an arrow, which pointed to a small square saying "Emergency Relief."